Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm Cameron Songer. Black and Gold reporter Petey Powers recently got the chance to sit down with UNCP Softball coach Petey Bennett. Here's more.
Thanks, Cameron. Here with Coach Bennett at El Arroyo Field. Coach, thanks for stopping in today.
Hey, thanks for having us.
All right, so far on the season, you guys are 22-23 heading into this weekend set of games. You have won your last 3 here. What do you think you guys have done to kind of right the ship here in recent weeks?
Well, truthfully, if you go back 6 games, we've won 5 out of our last 6. So in almost every game that we did not win in March, we actually had a chance to win. And that says a lot about our program and our kids. But what I think I've seen recently is, you know, we kind of went down with a few injuries here and there, and so that required some people to step up and come in and play all 7 innings and compete and have all 3 at-bats instead of just some pinch hits here and there. And I think some of our youth, you know, I think they went through a tough growing up phase. You know, I don't think it's normal for anyone in the Peach Belt to shove 6 freshmen in a lineup, and we did it. And what's happened here is lately is they have finally decided that this is who they are, and they know how to compete in the box and not worry about at-bat to at-bat and really just try to get the job done. But there was definitely a lot of nerves in there, and we just really didn't know how to play alongside each other because we were moving around so much because of the injuries. But just really, to me, lately, we're just playing together. We have a ton of fight, and a lot of that's coming from our youth, so I'm happy about that. But I think we just had to find ourselves and figure out how to play when we were a little bit down, and figure out how to win on the road a little bit better, and I think we're starting to do that.
Recently, your big bats in the middle of the order, Taylor Gerhardt, Abby Walters, and Jamie Johnson. Jamie picked up some PBC honors. What have they been doing right here recently?
Everything. I want to tell you that when they get up, when Rendy starts off the inning, all 4 of those guys can do several things. They can hit for power, they can steal bases, they're great on the base path, and they have the potential to walk, which is very, very difficult to pitch against. I think, don't quote me on this, but I believe that every single time that they come up where Rendy is up with no outs, that we never get through an inning without scoring a run. That's how potent they have been lately. And they exchange double for double. It's actually cool. You know, Rendy will hit a double, and then Abby will hit a double, and then Jamie will hit a double, and Taylor hit a double one inning, and it was just magic. They're fun to watch. They compete hard in the box, and it's been nice to have them back for the last, I would say, 10 games or so.
There have been some times here in recent weeks where you guys have had some untimely errors. Obviously, practice might be a little different when that happens. How do you kind of coach them up after that kind of thing happens? Well,
I think errors are tough because, you know, there's controllable errors and there's uncontrollable errors. And I think a lot of our stuff was what we could control. And I think that you have to learn how to be on the field when the game is on the line, when you're in the box with the runner at second. I really truly believe that we had to work through that, and it came at a very painful cost to me. It was grueling to watch that sometimes, but we're actually not making those errors anymore, and you never want to tell a team that you've got to go through this to grow out of it. That's what February is usually supposed to be for. But we came out so hot, and then we just got a little rough patch in the middle, and then we had to find a way to win instead of finding a way to lose. And once we did that, I think we've been, 1 error or less every game, and those have just been hard balls that are errors, but I mean they're not something I normally expect my kids to pick up. So, you know, we have to work through stuff. You have to, as a player, you have to grow and you have to develop. And the season is such a grind, and we're actually back to a really good place where we have fresh minds and we're open to criticism and we're open to try to recover when bad things happen. And you can really see that that's what's helping us win games, and we're actually winning them in good fashion, doing the right things. The other team's not losing the game. We're actually taking the game from the opponent.
So season's coming to a close now, about 8 more games, 6 of them are PBC games. What do you want to see out of this final stretch of the season?
I want them to compete. I want them to compete all 7 innings. Sometimes it's 15 when we play 15. I want to see them compete, and I don't want to see them give up. I don't see my team ever really doing that as far as the giving up piece. We play all 7 innings every single time. We actually get a little fire towards the end of the game anyway. But what I really would like to see more than anything is us to score early. Sometimes we have a hard time getting our offense going. We have a hard time getting it rolling. And for us to come out and score in the first and second and third innings, I think our percentage is we win 90% of the games that we play when we score early and often. So that's a stat that anybody would like to have on their side. But for us, we just have to get on the board and say, hey, look, we're going to do this and we're going to compete.
All right, Coach, stay right there. We'll be right back here on the Black and Gold Report. Right back here on the Black and Gold Report with Coach Petey Bennett. So, Coach, one of the main stories of this year's team has been the freshmen, the youngsters. They've gone through the conference conference a little bit here now. How do you think they've adjusted, and what do you think the future for them really is?
Well, for them, lucky them, they got all this experience out this year. You know, I try to explain this every year. A lot of freshmen don't play. They just really don't. They grow into that role. It's a transitional piece for them. I know last year I went and printed out all the conference stats in the middle of the year, and there was only 3 freshmen in the entire Peach Belt that were playing. I don't know what the number is this year, but I definitely think 6 out of 9 freshmen playing in a lineup is probably the highest in the Peach Belt. But I could talk a little bit about them. You know, Maddie and Mallory in the circle, and they both have had a lot of success, and then they'll have a really good game and we won't hit the ball. So I think it's been a learning experience for them. They've had to learn how to pitch when they're behind, when they're ahead, and when the game's on the line. You know, and then Alex and Rindy have rotated at second base a little bit. Rindy's played a little bit of outfield, and Eden's played a little bit of first and a little bit of second. She's rotated. I feel like Norton and Rindy, Alex and Eden and Shelby, they just keep getting rotated wherever I need them to go, and so I think it would they would probably be happy with me if I could just tell them where they were staying for the whole year. But on our team, you got to hit to stay in the lineup, and I think at first they found that very difficult. They didn't really understand. They've always played, and then they decided that they were going to be okay and this was going to be all right, and they were going to fight for their positions. But really, the future is huge for them. I mean, literally, they've had so much experience this year, and I can tell you that those kids have grown up. And you wouldn't be amazed at what 30 days playing full-time against a really tough opponent would do to a freshman. I actually don't think they look like freshmen anymore. For a while they did, but I truly in the box think that every time that they're up that I'm going to get some type of production out of them.
All right, so Saturday, done with the freshmen now. We'll move on to your lone senior. It's going to be Abby Day. Abby Walters, senior leader, one of the best players on the team. What do you have to say about Abby, and what can fans expect to see on senior day?
Well, first of all, we're rooting for a big crowd. So if you're available at 1 and 3 on Saturday, we'd like to see you out here. I know baseball's playing as well, but if you could split time there. This is an honor that we really want to do and produce well. Abby Walters came to us as a transfer. We've only had 2 years with her, and that kid has been really just lights out since we've had her. I mean, she's been batting over 400 in both seasons that we've had her. She's a potential candidate for first team All-Region, maybe potentially All-American. What do you say about Abby Walters? Well, you say everything. The kid works hard. She's a great teammate. She's funny. She's sassy, as everybody has learned. But she's fast, and she's caring, and she's loving, and you can count on her to pick it up when things are slow, and you can count on her when the game's on the line to be in the box. But I just cannot compliment who Abby is. I mean, she just is everything that Pembroke embodies as far as a student athlete. She's a great student in the class. She's a great athlete on the field. She's a great member of the community, and she's a fantastic teammate and a great kid to coach. I think every coach at night would pray that they could get a bunch of Abby Walters on their team, because life would be very, very good.
So before we let you go, when we have our coaches on the show, most of the time towards the end of the season, we kind of like to talk about recruiting.
Sure.
So obviously recruiting, it's really a year-long thing, but what are you looking for as far as recruits go out to make themselves stand out?
I think that this is something that you have to learn. So this is my 4th year. I'll be entering my 5th next year. You know, you actually have to learn what Pembroke needs. So I know what I want, and I know how I'm going to run my program, and I know what my assistant coaches are going to tolerate and what they're not going to tolerate. But I think we actually just now have got a really good mix of what we think the Pembroke student looks like that's the athlete here. And for us, recruiting-wise, it is a year-long thing. We never stop. But what I like most about recruiting is I've been so blessed in the last 2 cycles to have such a good group of girls. You know, I think that everybody that's in our administration, when they're around our kids, they're always like, yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir. That is what I want. I'm looking for kids that have a lot of talent but have gotten it through hard work, communication, and effort. I think the talent that comes raw and unaltered without a lot of communication and a lot of effort is not what I'm looking for. For us at Pembroke to come into our program, you've got to put your head down, you've got to know your role, you've got to get through the grind of the fall, and you've got to show that you can compete in the box. And if you can do those things, you definitely this will be a place that you can belong.
If we don't get a chance to have you on the show here one last time, what's really been your favorite part about coaching this group, this team?
Well, I love this team. I told them that before we went into our tough March. I'm with them the whole way. So what I love most about this team is, one, their fight. So I don't know why we like to score 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning when we could have scored it in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. But what I love about this team is that they take criticism generally well, and that they really are good to each other. And a lot of teams don't love each other, but my team loves each other. At some points I want them to be like, can't you just get mad at her because she's not doing her job? And I'm like, Coach, I love her. Like, I cannot get mad at her. I need her to do her job. But what I love about this group is that they've been really fun to be around. There's been a lot of growth, and I've got a lot of kids that are on their way to success in areas other than softball. And anytime that you can be around your group and they never make you mad because they're rude or disrespectful, I think you've got a good group on your hands.
Coach Brittany Bennett, thank you for joining us here today.
Hey, thank you.
That's all we have for today's show. For more information on UNCP athletics, visit uncpbraves.com. I'm Petey Powers. Thanks for joining us.
Georgia Tech in his ninth season with the Yellow Jackets, Bobby Kremlin.
Here's the general, Randy. Les Robinson, so familiar to all the people.
Montross with the marks of a great battle underneath.